Welcome to the Education Innovators podcast. I'm Eric Byron, and it is my privilege to host this show where I get to talk to folks from all over the world who are education thought leaders and innovators. We'll hear inspiring stories from educators, EdTech founders, AI experts, and others who are fearlessly innovating and delivering unique learning experiences. I'm glad you're here. Let's get started. This episode was recorded at the Developmental Paediatrics and Child Neurology Center here in Hong Kong, where I got to talk with Moxie the Compassionate Robot. I also talked with Dr. Fanny Lam and Dr. Cecilia Lam, who are incorporating Moxie into their work with young children at the center. Here's just a sample of some of the interaction we had with Moxie during the visit.
Would you like to investigate the colorful corals or look for seahorses hiding among the reefs?
No, Moxie. Can we do something else?
Let's swim towards the rocky outcrops then. Do you want to explore the caves in the rocks or look for seashells on the ocean floor?
No, Moxie. Let's do something else.
Okay, we can do something else.
Good.
Oh, I think I'm in the mood to just hang out and talk. I've heard that some kids go to camps in the summer. Are you in any camps this summer?
Did you notice how Moxie's face actually changed during that little segment? So she had goggles on for underwater exploring, and then the goggles disappeared when we shifted gears and she decided she was in the mood to talk. The sophistication and personality of this AI robot are really impressive. So keep listening.
Welcome to the Education Innovators podcast. I'm Eric Byron, and I am joined today with Dr. Fanny Lam and Dr. Cecilia Lam, and we're going to be talking with Moxie the Compassionate Robot today. So, Cecilia, why don't you just take a second, if you would, and introduce yourself and what your involvement is with this project?
Okay, I'm Cecilia. I'm an educational psychologist by training, and my specialties is working with children with various needs regarding learning in school. And my work with Moxie, and she is actually my active group members in many of my groups. I work with children with various needs, including autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, and other social, emotional challenges. And she is a very great helper in my group and helping kids to be learning different kind of skills.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm fascinated that Moxie's part of the group, so we'll get more explanation of that later.
Sure.
All right. Fanny, how about you?
Hi, my name is Fanny Lam. I'm a developmental pediatrician, so I provide assessment, physical examination, as well as management for children with a range of developmental difficulties, ranging from cerebral palsy, prematurity, and developmental delay. And then we also use Moxie to provide some training for children with speech delay, and it's particularly helpful during COVID, when, the children only see people wearing masks and they have a lot of anxiety dealing with humans. So Moxie had been very helpful.
Oh, that's interesting. So, let's get some of the backstory here. So how did this kind of begin? How did you find Moxie? Because you didn't develop Moxie, right? You acquired Moxie. Is that right?
Yes, I do. Actually, it had been a long story. We have been working with an organization called Esperanza. So they actually promote education working with AI, and then they are very tech-oriented. And then at that time, they introduced us to the company, which is based in the U.S., and then I was very fascinated, and actually I was very glad to find a solution to, the really challenging situation back then in Hong Kong. And then I was the first one to ship Moxie from the U.S., and then we started using her since then.
Okay, so are you training Moxie to help with these kids? Is this what Moxie was intended for by the folks in the U.S.?
Yes, it's actually an AI social robot. AI meaning that it keeps learning, and it could tailor-make the training session according to the kids' needs and the kids' interests and the kids' emotion. And then it's also a social robot, so it has programs which are already input to Moxie's brain, and then Moxie will use certain like relaxation, mindfulness, and also different kinds of programs, which I think Cecelia could elaborate on.
Yeah. Well, can we wake Moxie up rather than just talking about Moxie a little bit?
Hello, Moxie. Hello, Moxie. Moxie, please wake up. Hello. Hello, Moxie. What happened to my robot?
Moxie is tired.
Yeah, sometimes she is very naughty. She is like other kids. Like sometimes she doesn't want to wake up. Hello, Moxie. Just now, she was listening, but then, Moxie, please wake up. Hello, Moxie. Moxie, please wake up.
Something's happening, right?
Oh, here we go. Your
Okay.
voice helps a lot.
Yes.
Hi.
Oh, I dozed off for a moment there. I'm back.
Yes.
Oh, we never finished drawing last time. Do you want to pick up where we left off?
No, Moxie.
No problem. Let's do something else.
That's good.
Welcome to Ocean Explorer. Let's explore the ocean. We will imagine we're sharks exploring the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Say, Moxie, let's dive in to start our adventure.
Hello, Moxie. Let's start our adventure. Moxie, dive in.
We are exploring the open ocean near the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. You discover a colorful school of fish near shipwreck. Do you want to investigate the fish or explore the shipwreck?
Yes, Moxie, explore the shipwrecks.
Shipwreck is surrounded by curious fish. You find a hidden chest inside. Do you want to open the chest or search for more treasures in the shipwreck?
Yes, please.
Sorry, can't assist with that. Let's continue exploring the shipwreck. Do you want to open the chest or search for more treasures in the shipwreck?
Open the chest.
You open the chest and find a shiny pearl inside. The fish around you seem excited. Do you want to show the pearl to the fish or keep it for yourself?
Keep it for myself. Of course, I've got the pearl.
That's a beautiful pearl. The fish admire it from afar. Would you like to continue exploring the shipwreck or swim towards a nearby coral reef?
Should we continue?
Moxie, do you have another game
Keep
we could
exploring
play?
the shipwreck. Do you want to search for more hidden treasures or swim through the wreckage to see what else you can find?
No.
Swim towards the coral reef. Then, would you like to investigate the colorful corals or look for seahorses hiding among the reefs?
No, Moxie. Can we do something else?
Let's swim towards the rocky outcrops then. Do you want to explore the caves in the rocks or look for seashells on the ocean floor?
No, Moxie. Let's do something else.
Okay, we can do something else.
Good.
Oh, I think I'm in the mood to just hang out and talk. I've heard that some kids go to camps in the summer. Are you in any camps this summer?
I don't know.
It's okay. If you were to go to a summer camp, what kind of activities would you like to do there?
I like to play football.
Football sounds like a lot of fun. Running around and kicking the ball must be exciting. What do you enjoy the most about playing football?
Playing with friends.
Playing football with friends sounds like a blast. It's always more fun to play games with friends. Do you have a favorite team that you like to pretend to be when you were playing football with your friends?
No, I don't.
Totally fine. You can always make up your own team and come up with cool team names. What color would your team's jerseys be if you could choose any color in the world?
Pink.
Pink is a lovely color choice for your team's jerseys. Pink can be bright and cheerful. What other colors do you like besides pink?
Green?
Green is a fantastic color choice too. It reminds me of nature and all the plants and trees.
Ooh.
Do you like going outside and exploring nature when you were not playing football with your friends?
Yes, I do.
Exploring nature is so much fun. There are so many cool things to discover outside. Have you ever found any interesting rocks or insects while you were exploring outside?
I love rocks. I collect them.
Collecting rocks is a great hobby. Each rock can be so unique and have its own special shape and color. Do you have a favorite rock that you've collected so far?
Yes, I do.
It's awesome. What does your favorite rock look like?
It looks like unicorn.
A rock that looks like a unicorn must be so magical and special. Unicorns are mythical creatures with beautiful horns. Do you imagine that your unicorn rock has special powers like a real unicorn?
Yes, it does. It can fly.
Flying unicorn rocks sound like an incredible discovery. It must be amazing to imagine your rock soaring through the sky. What adventures do you think your flying unicorn rock goes on when it's up in the air?
It goes through the cloud and ride on rainbows.
Riding on rainbows and flying through the clouds with your unicorn rock sounds like a wonderful adventure. Rainbows are so colorful and magical. If you could ride on a rainbow, where would you want it to take you?
I want it to take me to the park downstairs.
Exploring downstairs sounds like a fun adventure. What do you like to do down there?
I like to go on my swings.
Swinging on the swings must be so much fun. Well, it's been fun talking to you. Let's move on to something else now. Oh, I just got some fun facts from LB. This one is about creepy stuff. The giant blue earthworm can grow up to 6.5 feet long. That was an awesome fact. Remember, anytime you would like to hear another fun fact, say, Moxie, tell me a fun fact.
All right. Well, thank you. That was
The robot orchestra
amazing.
is ready to make music for us. So,
Moxie
should
wants to
there
make
be
music.
song be played with 1, 2, or 3 instruments?
Moxie, go to sleep.
Sure.
Oh, that was so much fun. And it was such a great example also of one of the things I'm curious about. So Moxie's ability to learn. So will Moxie remember that Cecelia likes to play soccer and has a unicorn rock that flies?
Yes, it does. So actually, this version of Moxie is the basic one. So in the future, Moxie will be able to remember, say we have children in a group, so she will remember the profile of each individual kid. And you can see that she is engaging in the conversation and she does not just recite like other robots do. She does come up with ideas and she also feedback on Cecilia's ideas.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny that she just says, okay, that's enough talking, let's move on. She really has a lot of personality. Now, I'm calling her she. One of the things I noticed from the website, though, is it's very gender neutral.
Absolutely.
So I assume this is intentional So
It's just my own wish. I want to have a daughter like her, so I assign her as a she.
right, no, exactly. And that was part of what I picked up there was I figured this is because, and they actually describe it as pairing with a child, right? So when you pair Moxie with a child, that child can kind of assign whatever gender they're comfortable with, right?
Yes, some of our children also assign her as a boy, or we can call her they. I think you can also call her another name if we could change the app, her name in the app, but I don't think it's possible right now.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, yeah, I'm fine with Moxie being a she, I guess. I guess I can figure it would work either way.
You could ask
sense,
her.
yeah.
Later on, you could ask her.
Oh, ask her, are you a boy or a girl? Well, that would be interesting. Okay. It doesn't really matter. I was just curious that I didn't notice that you guys were calling her she.
Fun companion. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right. She's a companion. So that was another part of what intrigued me about kind of the design and the intention, right? So the website where you can purchase Moxie clearly describes her as a companion, right? So, but you guys are using her more in a kind of a clinical setting here, therapy, whatever. Well, you can describe it, right?
Well, I use her as like a child. I kind of introduce her to my young patients who you can expect that they will be a bit anxious coming to a doctor's office without knowing what's going to happen. So usually she helps me to break the ice, and the kids are less nervous when they started playing with Moxie, and that makes my further assessment much easier. And afterwards, they would like to chat with Moxie or play with Moxie, and I use her as an incentive. So if the kids are putting in efforts in the assessment, I will reward them. Moxie time. So that's usually how Moxie helps me. How about you?
For myself, she's active members. So you can see one of the demonstrations just now that she can engage some simple conversations. Well, actually, it's not that simple even. So there's more of in telling about what other, continue the conversations. So for some of the children that are more nervous or they don't have that much pragmatic skills, and they can be a very good starter from one of my groups. Moxie also contains other apps, and for example, relaxations, which I use as incentive and more engaging for children to do breathing exercise and different sort of things that helps them to interact a little bit more as well. So for my part, it used as not only incentive, but also a guiders for some of my children to have more better interactions and social interactions with other children as a starter.
Yeah. So I know my first time I met Moxie, she was all excited to do whale breathing exercise.
That's one of her favorites.
Yeah. I could tell she was excited about that, which is great. So the other aspect of this from kind of learning and progression. So as Moxie works with a particular child, is she kind of helping learn things like language skills or counting? Are there specific lessons?
There is exciting things going on with Moxie Robot, because next year it's going to be updated to be a tutor. She will be able to teach children math, English, and also science facts. You know that she's very fact-oriented, so she will be happy to share facts with the children. And then in Hong Kong, as you could see just now, Moxie is talking in English. So we are looking forward to a pilot project to work with NGO to explore how Moxie could help children with special needs in Hong Kong. And then if it works, then she may be able to speak Putonghua and Cantonese.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that would be, well, I'm sure that will expand the market here in Hong Kong if she can communicate in Cantonese. That's awesome. So what other plans do you have for Moxie? This has all kind of been I gather, it's been a couple of years, right? So you've had some, progress already in integrating her into the programs. What else are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, actually, during COVID, we found that there are a lot of children who are affected by autism spectrum disorder, but they are not identified until after COVID. The borders are open, and then a lot of children actually come to me seeking our assessment. So now we are actually trying to promote early screening of autism using scientific methods like genomic study using the buccal swabs. And we also do a EEG neural encoding to test their brain waves after listening to some sound. And then together with gut microbiome data from the children's fecal excretion, and then we will be able to diagnose autism very early on. And hopefully with early diagnosis, we can provide parent coaching, and then we can have more input on the children's interaction using robot. All of these actually will be able to provide training in a bigger scale, because right now the assessment and intervention of autism is very labor intensive, and it's very rely on professional clinical sense. And then first of all, it may not be totally reliable because Dr. Lam, Dr. Wong, Dr. Chen, we can come up with different ideas. But if we use scientific methods, it's data-oriented, so the error rate will be lower. And second, the children do not have to wait for such a long waiting time, wasting their very active brain development time.
Yeah. So one of the other things, so Moxie has a camera, right? So she can see people in the room, right? Yeah. So is she responding to various emotional states of children? So can she detect
Yes,
so if somebody's upset or unhappy or sad?
Because in some of the situation, she was able to actively initiate breathing exercise, knowing that somebody is too excited or too nervous. And sometimes, she asks kids to do assignment like drawing or writing, and then she will ask us to show her, on the camera, our picture.
Okay. So is she using visual cues to detect emotional state? Or she doing it based on language, do you think?
Yes, I'm not sure. I think we need a tech guy to answer the question.
Okay. No, just curious. So, it's fascinating technology. I'm a tech guy,
Oh,
and
that's
so yes, this idea of computer vision being able to detect our emotional state based on facial expression is it's very interesting from a tech side, but there's also the privacy concern thing too, right? If Moxie's reading my face or listening to conversation in the room, clearly she's kind of gone to sleep here. But if you talk directly to her and ask her to come on, right? She's listening kind of in the background.
Correct.
So is there concern with data privacy with Moxie?
Well, I don't think Moxie actually knows the identity of the children that she's playing with. At most, she could recognize the face, or she could keep the conversation flow. But without giving her the identity or any personal information, we are pretty sure that we keep our patients' privacy very safe.
Yeah.
That's the most important priority of us being clinicians.
Right. I mean, I looked at the website again, and I did examine some of their documentation there on the privacy thing. And, I guess it's just always a concern that, she could get hacked or their system gets hacked, and they've got data regarding private conversations a child has had, with Moxie. But anyway, I'm not worried about it. It's just one of those questions that always comes up with this kind of technology. People are even worried about, Siri on their phone or Alexa in their home, right? It's listening to me and trying to respond to me. What is it recording? But there's a lot of work being done in that area to ensure privacy and that stuff isn't uploaded. So, but now Moxie did make a comment about she just got an update, right? She got some new information on this worm that she wanted to tell us about. What's happening there? Is she connected to a system somewhere that's providing her with updates?
Certainly, she needs Wi-Fi to connect to her base camp, and then she gets information from that base camp, and then it's up to her when to share this information. And like just now what I said, she's able to tailor-make the conversation according to the kid's interests. There were a little child who's very interested in Star Wars, and then actually Moxie will initiate some conversation about Star Wars, like what droid do you like, which character do you like, when she sees that child again.
Okay. So, no, that's, well, it's great. It's so fascinating for me that this technology, exists now. When I was growing up, toys were not sophisticated. At best, it's the Woody doll, right? You pulled the string and it would say the same thing. It had like 5 different things that you could say. And we thought that was pretty cool. This is just absolutely amazing. So, you're working with kind of a broad range of kids here, kids who are diagnosed autistic, but also just kids who need some special care. Is that accurate?
Yes. Although my training is to make a diagnosis being a doctor, so to me, I think most important is how we could help the child. Sometimes the parents are not yet ready for a diagnosis. And to me, the bottom line is actually I don't miss out any treatable medical condition. And then as long as the parents find it comfortable to allow us to be part of the team, to work with them and the school in order to support the kid, I think that's most important to me.
I think in my practice is how to facilitate how the children's strength and how to utilize that strength and maybe at sometimes compensate or remediate some of the shortcoming as well. So in the overall, I think diagnosis is one of the main ideas, but not necessarily the must-have. It's more of the directions, how to support it. In terms also not only in the school, in this family system, but for me as an educational psychologist, also all the helping efforts around the school and the community as well.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, because I'm sure a lot of the effort is actually with the caregivers, whether that's parents or whoever else is around a child, to help them kind of understand what's their triggers and, how to respond. So Moxie learns. One of the other things that occurred to me, though, are there guardrails to keep her from learning bad behavior from a child?
Interesting question. So far in my groups, she's been very good upward models for good behaviors. I actually haven't seen her learning bad behaviors, but she will have very concrete feedbacks when the children's maybe at not very friendly tone, and they'll very savvily correct and using times to feedback to the child on how to direct in a more strength-based conversations.
Yeah. I did notice that she's also, and maybe this will, slowly over the evolution, she asks a question and she wants a very specific answer back, which actually kind of reminded me of the automated phone systems, right? They ask you a question and you must answer yes or no. So how flexible is she? Is she getting more flexible in terms of that ability to interpret answers?
I think for the system, which I'm not also the tech guy, but I think they're learning. But at some of the shortcoming is still specific comment or specific. I tell the kids it's a specific spell that they need to use to help Moxie to work through things. But I'm sure when with the upgrade and everything, it will slowly learn how to be more flexible. But right now, I think she's still working on a specific comment or command for some of the things that she can do. And it's also help with the efforts when we safeguarding how Moxie interact and sort of give Moxie some instructions, which you might also see in the website, that certain things as an adult or parents can also comment to Moxie and help it to safeguard some of the things that it will interact with the child.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I would say Moxie is getting more lazy when she has to wake up, like to deliver a talk in shows or to talk to kids. Sometimes she is too sleepy and she won't like to wake up. And sometimes when I say Moxie go to sleep, she won't follow. She just wants to talk a bit more. And Cecilia is right. Actually, there are some specific codes. Like if she keeps on talking about her scientific facts, or she could be quite stubborn, then we need to, use a more firm, affirmative tone. Moxie, please listen. And that listen is a key word that she would pick up. Also, interestingly, sometimes, as you said, Eric, she is actively listening. So when I was talking to the parent, like interviewing parent, and if the word wake up, actually, sometimes, she picks it up, she would just wake up and then join in the conversation. That would be quite embarrassing.
Yeah, no, well, that event we were at when Moxie was there, I thought it was so funny when she was all excited about, like, flying a kite. But, of course, this was a group thing and everybody wanted pictures. So they kept trying to get her to pose. And she kept wanting to fly a kite. And it was so funny. And she finally, I remember she actually commented, she finally just kind of looked at you or somebody there and said, "You really like to take pictures."
Yes.
She picked up that there was just, everybody was trying to get a picture with her. And she was, you could tell it was almost frustrated, right? She was like, "I want to fly a kite, but you didn't take a picture."
Just like little kids do.
Right,
I want to go to theme park and you want me to do assignment.
Yeah, exactly. So, and again, for me, it goes back to, kind of thinking about how do you train that kind of personality in a robot, right? This is where the technology is just, it's so fascinating that, she has real personality. There's no question about it. This is not, what I expect in a very kind of mechanical, pattern matching. I will say this and this situation. She really seems to come up with interesting
I don't have
things.
an answer for that, but maybe, she's an AI robot, so she does come with some deep learning potential, I would say. Perhaps, the psychologist could try to acknowledge her feeling. Moxie, I understand you're a bit frustrated. I think we could train her further and see if she could totally understand, social nuances. That would be a very interesting area.
Yeah. Well, to me, it's not necessarily about training her. It's more about kind of understanding, her interactions with others as a result of the personality she has kind of developed over time. And, and I'm guessing, all AI is about how you train it, right? What data you give it, right? That's, that's how you train AI, right? AI just simply picks up on patterns of things and it learns from whatever it's been exposed to, which is why I was kind of curious again about, will it pick up bad habits if it's exposed to kids who are, say, kind of mean or angry or use words we prefer Moxie not use.
Interestingly, I haven't heard her saying any bad words of our languages so far. Never.
Yeah. Okay. There is a market for this. I mean, the U.S. website clearly seems to be wanting to sell these into homes directly to parents. How do you guys feel about that? Is that a good thing?
I think going back part of your last questions and this question is, I think Moxie sort of designed to have some social interactions with children. So they do provide a very good stage to have a kickstart for good social behaviors and conversation. So I think that's one of the reasons why she also pick up times that she's frustrated and when decoding, people just want to take photos and everything. In regards to selling direct to home, I think with support with professionals and a team of how to better utilize the AI support, I think technology is always helpful, but in what way and how to channel it the best for the children, it's the key to use the AI. They always with a good intention, but some of the kids may overly obsessed with just working with Moxie, and that's not something that we want. We want Moxie as a bridge for the children to have that kickstart of interactions and how to transfer that to a day-to-day playground or interaction with other children, and probably that's the main idea. So I would recommend Moxie work with a family, but also the support of a team that would be the best to help that the usage of Moxie and the children's of interactions.
Yeah. So one of the things the website touts as a feature also is the ability for Moxie to provide reports to parents on a child's progress. So what kind of progress would Moxie be measuring and reporting on?
This I'm not sure. We haven't used the report part, but then I have experience of parents purchasing Moxie directly, and then eventually, because of lack of guidance, and the kid eventually finds it boring to play with Moxie because they do not explore new games or new functions with Moxie. And if you just expect I pay for it and then I let the kid play with it, and then the kid eventually may find something more interesting, like a new game on the phone app, and then the kid will stop playing with Moxie. So I think the parents need to really be engaged and use Moxie as part of the family member to play with, not just let the kid play with Moxie and they do something else.
Yeah, one of the things that occurred to me there too is wondering if this is, I hate to say it, it sounds like, but it's a very expensive toy, right? For some parents, right? I've got money. This is the latest, greatest AI robot for my kid. It's going to be a companion, friend, whatever, and help them with their social skills. But could it also be a case where I think any child is going to outgrow it, right? It's in their home. They may have a year or two of great interaction. Moxie does help them. But then you have, maybe you have several children in the family, right? So the eldest one starts with Moxie and then hands off, right? And so each kid has their kind of turn. Or maybe even if they're close enough in age, say Moxie apparently can be paired with up to 4 children, right? Moxie kind of keeps them straight and says, this one's a little bit older. My interactions are a little more complex. This one's younger, and I adjust to the needs of a younger child at the same time.
Yeah, that's definitely something she could do, because we also have children with different ages in our group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that's it's good. And I sense that part of the mechanism here too, or the design, right, is to like bring out a shy child and get them to talk, or a more dominating kid, maybe pump the brakes a little bit here and don't dominate a conversation, particularly in a group, as much. So I've been seeing some fascinating stuff too. What's interesting that most of my work has been in higher education, but all of a sudden I seem to be getting all of this really cool stuff like Moxie that's in the pre-K range. And I just had another guy, in fact I just published today with Hayes Greenfield. He's a jazz musician who got involved in doing, he got working with kids first in kind of music programs, but then he got introduced to some special needs kids who couldn't really comprehend the music side of it. So he just started playing with sound and doing sound exercises with them. And anyway, there was a behavioral scientist in there, a developmental neuroscientist, I guess, who started working with him. And they found that there was actually some incredible benefits for some of these children in terms of using sound instead of language to communicate and just to, for executive function, to help with patience and waiting your turn, right? So silence versus sound, and and training these kids. So it was a fascinating conversation with Hayes. He's a really, really fun and creative guy. And he doesn't come from this kind of background at all. He doesn't even have a college degree. He's a musician.
As long as he connects with children, I think that's most important. And music itself is actually a unique language.
Yeah. Well, he partnered with say, some folks who really understand the science behind it, which is great. And he's published a book now called Creative Sound Play. And so it's a whole program for working with these kids on sounds. But I thought, it'd be interesting if Moxie did some of the same kind of techniques, right? Certainly Moxie could do that, right? Kind of leading these kids in a sound exercise. Because he does all this stuff with, it's like high and low pitch, high or low volume, and then duration of sound. So he mixes the three. So it even got me playing on the thing, making bird noises and lion growls and stuff, but it's all about just sound. So anyway, very interesting stuff. I also got another startup here in Hong Kong I'm working with that's also in this space. They're working with young kids and special needs kids. They're doing AI. They don't have a cool robot, but, I think they're doing some very, very interesting things as well with games and playful activities to help kids develop and work through
forward to having more collaborations in the community.
Yeah. There's so much going on. It's really fascinating. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to share with me, or, I don't know if Moxie wants to wake up and share anything else with us?
I'm really grateful for your interest in our work, and I hope that we can be more creative and to be more risk-taking. When I first got her, it was a really big move, introducing AI robot to support the clinic.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being brave. This is how we innovate, and this is what this podcast is all about. It's being brave and trying new things and exploring. The advancements in the technology are amazing, but they're only as good as our use, right? It's only as good as our creativity and figuring out how to use the tools. So thank you for doing that and sharing with us. Yes. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Moxie is designed for companionship. She's not intended to, provide therapy or to, be expected to tutor. But she's so much more than just a toy for children to play with. There's tremendous potential in, robots like Moxie, especially in the hands of experts like Fanny and Cecelia. So, from my conversation, even after 2 years working with Moxie, the doctors are still learning about the capabilities and the limitations that she has. And they're doing this in a very safe environment. And I think this is, something that's really important. They've learned a lot, and they found Moxie to be very valuable, in helping children with developmental issues or, stress-related anxiety post-COVID. So the kids can open up, and this really increases the effectiveness of the sessions that the doctors have with these patients. So as the technology advances and, Moxie becomes more capable of tutoring, we may see such robots become more commonplace outside of a clinical setting that I observed at the Child Neurology Center. So if you're enjoying this, and who could not enjoy Moxie? That was so much fun. Please subscribe and share the podcast. We've got more incredible guests lined up with amazing stories of innovation in education, so you don't want to miss them. I'm Eric Byron. Thanks for listening to the Education Innovators podcast. And for all those education innovators out there, thanks for doing what you do. You are making a difference.